Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of the CelinaSpookyBoo and KallMeKris ghost hunting review. I'm not sure what this video is called yet. Basically, what we're gonna be doing is, reviewing it. You know what? I'm not gonna explain it, because if you're here and you haven't seen part 1, get out! You need to go watch part 1. It's not gonna make any sense. Also, everything's gonna look different from now on, because if you've seen part 1, you will know that I was editing and I realized the video was too long, so I split it into 2 parts without having planned that before. Anyway, I'm not gonna hold your time any longer. Here is part 2 of the review. Why the fuck did that sound so zesty, bro? There and kind of talking to a ghost and listening to what the Alice box has to say. I already talked about why I think the Alice box and this whole procedure is silly, so I won't go over that, but I'll mention a few things. The box says buy, and then almost immediately it says drone. Chris makes a connection that the day before they broke their drone and they had to buy a new one. Now admittedly that is a weird coincidence, but just a coincidence, and it's emphasized by what the box says next. The box says police. Again, Chris correlates this to them speaking to the police the day before, causing them to reach all kinds of conclusions about this being a spirit that's been following around the whole time. But I've got some things to say about this. Let me ask you something. If the Chris didn't speak to them the day before, and the Alice box still said police, what do you think Chris and Celina would have said? They probably would have inferred, oh my god, the police showed up after he died. Of course, that's what must have happened. The police showed up. What I mean by saying this is, it doesn't matter what happened to you. You're gonna derive some sort of meaning from what the Alice box says. It's just a coincidence that the police happened to speak to you the day before. They had a coincidental experience that correlated with what the Alice box says, and they just draw some conclusions from that. Right, I'm gonna avoid trying to talk about the Alice box, because I've already yapped so much about it, but it's so goddamn annoying, man. At one point, it does sound a little bit like footsteps on the stairs above them, but again, this is an old building. There might still be people there.
It's more intelligent than a ghost.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was above us.
Freaks me out. This is more intelligent. Freaks me out. This is more intelligent. Freaks me out. This is more.
It's like a small thumping sound in a huge castle. Like, come on. At one point, Celina starts yapping about this ghost that might be following them.
Places that are dense in this paranormal activity. It's like it feeds off of the other spirits that are here, the energies that are in these like really crazy places.
Yeah.
Where are you getting this information? What led you to even theorize this? There's very little evidence that something's following you, let alone feeding on spiritual energy or whatever jargon you're talking about. Sorry, I'm not trying to insult Celina, but come on. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't care if you're a psychic, you don't know. Later in the investigation, the music box goes off like a lot. Assuming, again, that these two aren't faking it, there's still a really easy explanation to this. It was probably something on the windowsill that kept moving past, like, I don't know, a small curtain, maybe there was a little mouse, or maybe it was something outside, like the wind started blowing a bit more and the trees were swaying more than normal, which got picked up by the detector. Obviously, I don't know how sensitive the IR motion sensor is, but you'd assume if it's trying to pick up ghost activity, it'd be pretty sensitive. Just saying, more likely explanation than a ghost is moving some. There's a moment in this investigation where something pretty shocking actually does happen, and it had me, if you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. It had me stumped for a while. I was looking at it and being like, I don't think there was a ghost, but I don't know how I can explain this. Chris is speaking some random definition of a word the Alice box said, and then something crazy happens. Let me play you the clip.
A feeling of doubt or hesitation with regard to morality.
Did you see it? Chris's shirt moved as if it was tugged on by something. And guess what? This happens not once, but twice. On 2 separate occasions. Like I said, I was genuinely surprised when I saw this. I wasn't sure what to say, so I had to kind of take to the comments to see what other people thought. And here's what I found. I found that it wasn't faked. They weren't faking it somehow. But it also wasn't paranormal activity. Firstly, Chris's shirt is made of some light, thin material, which means it shouldn't be too hard for air to push it. Secondly, her head is angled down when she's speaking. Lastly, she's really stressed and probably excited, so she's speaking with loads of emphasis and using a lot of breath when she speaks. What's happening here is that Chris says certain words with a harsh sound. In this case, she says hesitation when it happens, and the shirt moves on the H and the T. And the air being pushed out of her mouth travels down to a shirt, creating a wind tunnel and blowing it out, making it look like the shirt is being tugged on. I know it seems kind of hard to believe, and honestly, I had a difficult time believing it too, until I read some more comments kind of explaining it a little. Here's how one comment helped me really understand this. Viewer, please put your hand under your chin, extending it a little, like this. You can do it like this, or you can do it like this. It doesn't matter, as long as your hand is under your chin and like kind of flat out. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? So you can feel, you have your fingers here somewhere. Now say the letter T with a lot of emphasis. T, 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 T. You'll notice that you'll feel quite a bit of air being pushed down onto your fingers, like right at the base of your chin, like right here. That's what's happened here to Kris. She said a harsh letter, H, T, whatever, and the air from her mouth is being pushed down, and she's speaking very loudly with a lot of emphasis, being pushed down into her shirt, creating a wind tunnel. I don't know anything about physics. I don't know what a wind tunnel is really, but I assume it pushes down with a lot of air and it blows out. Boom. Airflow. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm not exactly too sure what I'm yapping about, but it makes sense. Hello, it's me, but me editing this video. So I know everything I just said sounds like a whole lot of yap. I'm not gonna clarify. I'm not gonna redo that section. You just gotta believe me. No, okay, it makes sense. I swear it makes sense. But yeah, I gotta admit, that sounds like a whole lot of fucking yap. So if you don't believe me, I don't blame you. And I'm not gonna try explain it any better. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Bye! You know, maybe I haven't explained it too well. Maybe it doesn't make sense. You know what? Sense makes sense.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Sense makes sense.
One final thing I want to talk about before we move on from this investigation is that, again, they're kind of spinning this narrative out of nowhere based on some assumptions. They begin speculating that Amy, the girl that died here, didn't die in some accident involving a scarf. She was actually murdered here by William, and he did this in order to cover up something. Let me just say something. Not once in this whole video have we been told that William is a murderer. I mean, you know, they've speculated it a few times, but not once a tour guide, or they haven't confirmed it in any way that William is a murderer. A terrible person, sure, a person that cheats on their wife a lot, but a murderer, that's never been confirmed. Okay, that's it for that investigation. Let's move on with the tour. Here they go to the final location, which is the bridge. Let me tell you a bit about the bridge. So remember Abigail and Toby, the two lovers with a tragic ending? Well, this is the bridge where the two of them were meant to meet. Nothing happened here particularly, but it was said that Toby's spirit resides there and is wandering, still looking for Amy. Now, before we get into the investigation, Kris and Celina added something here that it had me, baffled. See, apparently Kris has been keeping a dream journal every single night. And I don't know, maybe this is a thing that happens in other episodes of the series too. I don't know, I haven't seen the rest of it. But she's keeping this dream journal. We're shown a video of Kris describing a dream the morning before they go to the castle. She describes a dream that seems to be really extremely related to the two lovers in the bridge. Here's the clip of her dream journal.
3. The crew is packing the car, and I just want to step aside and do this before I forget what it was. So it's today, Thursday, September 7th at 10:07 a.m. So I had a lot of dreams last night, but I feel like the one that's most relevant to what's happening today, because we're going to Arcadia, is that I was on a bridge, and I felt like I was actually a man, and there was a woman in just a really old dress, I think from... It's like the late 1900s. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at pictures and kind of see. And it was purplish and white. And she had an umbrella, and she was walking under the bridge, towards the bridge. And I was on top of the bridge, looking at her, like admiring her. And I was a man. And she had an umbrella, and she's walking under the bridge. And I'm looking, and I'm looking, and I'm looking. And then she comes through, and I want to see her, so I go to the other side, and I hear a scream, and she disappears. So. And I'm not sure. That's the last dream I had, and then I woke up, so I'm not sure. And then at the end of the dream, it was me. I wasn't a man anymore, so it was me, and I heard a scream, and I looked down under the bridge. So, we'll see if that makes any sense.
Now, yet again, I'm gonna be really kind and give you an explanation that doesn't involve Kris and Celina faking it. Although I'm gonna let you make your own mind up on whether you think they're faking or not. But I'm gonna give an explanation for this that isn't based on the fact that they're faking it. What I think is going on here is that firstly, Kris knew about the lover story to some degree, considering earlier in the video they said that's why they were attracted to this location in the first place. And since she had to visit the location the next day, she was probably thinking about it as she was going to sleep. Now, you see, dreams are something that we don't really understand. We aren't certain what causes them, we aren't certain what they are, we really don't know a whole lot about them. And you see, humans hate things that we don't understand. It's innate within us. And in the past, when we haven't understood something like, why do natural disasters happen? How was the world created? Who was the first man? We attribute it to something greater than us. For example, God. We used to use God to understand how humans and the universe came to be. But now, in modern day, we have stuff like the Big Bang Theory and evolution. And we realized that maybe it wasn't God. And it's the exact same thing with dreams. We don't understand them. So people, for example Chris, attribute it to something greater than us, something spiritual, something supernatural. This is what Chris is doing. She believes that ghosts or something are influencing her dreams because she doesn't understand them. Anyway, enough of that little rant of mine. Let's just get into the investigation on the bridge. So they do a method of investigation that I've certainly never seen before. It starts with Chris and Celina staring into each other's eyes to form some sort of psychic bond or something? I don't know, they don't really explain it. Then Chris asks the ghost some questions and they answer through Celina. Let me explain. So basically there's a bunch of black tiles laid out, and each tile, it says something on the side that's facing down. When the ghosts answer a question, Celina gets a feeling to flip a certain tile. What that tile says is the answer. Of course, the stuff on the tiles isn't too specific. It says stuff like, yes, no, I don't know, don't ask. Surely, dear viewer, I do not actually need to tell you why this is probably not a communication with the spiritual world. They never ask the ghost any question that they could use to prove that the ghost is actually there, responding to them. They could ask the ghost if it's dead or something like that, like 3 times, and if each time it responds yes, then maybe there's some truth to it. But if you ask the ghost 3 times, is it dead, and it goes yes, yes, and no or something, then, you know, seems a bit weird. But I feel like even if they did do this, a lot of people that believe in ghosts draw some weird ideas. Like if you asked it, is it dead, and it said no, then you'd be like, oh, it doesn't understand that it's dead. It doesn't know. We need to help guide it. Also, all the questions are yes or no answers, and none of them can be denied or proved or confirmed. So it doesn't matter what the ghost says. If it says something new that they didn't expect, they'll just be like, oh my god, okay. So this is actually what happened. These two will change the story according to each answer, rather than using the questions to validate their story, the story that they believe. It's just an extremely flawed method, and I already said my opinion on psychic, so I won't repeat that. Also, Celina starts babbling about energy or something, like, what?
My intuition is that they're both here, but they just don't see each other or understand that they can see each other. And I think that ghosts and everything, we live on this plane of existence, that's all energy. Hate is energy, love is energy, you are energy, I am energy, the trees is energy, and I think that there is this energy of hate between them that keeps them from seeing each other, and what they don't understand is so much time has passed, and the hate that you think might be something that you've completely made up in yourself now, and it's keeping you from each other.
Where's your evidence, But personally, I don't think Celina knows what she's talking about it. They ask a few more questions, nothing too crazy happens, and they wrap up the investigation, which, with that, they finally wrap up this video. Now it's time for me to give my closing thoughts. Right, so let's start with the positives. First, the video was good. Of course, I was looking at it in a critical way, but as a video, it was still quite enjoyable. The story and suspense they created was great, it was funny, entertaining, and the video was edited pretty well. Aside from the insane and unnecessary amount of the booms, I'm still mad. My whole house was shaking from the speakers. And also, I don't think it was fake. I just think they greatly exaggerated many events, drew conclusions from very unreliable evidence, like they used the Alice box and the REM pods, and all of that is just not reliable at all. And they drew these conclusions and spun these narratives that they don't really have any proof of, but in the end, I don't think they were actually faking anything. I think they were just exaggerating it. But I'll let you decide for yourself if you think they were faking. Now let's get to what I really didn't like. There was no paranormal activity. Like I said before, they used the Alice box, the REM pod, the music box, all of which are completely unreliable. They spun these narratives from no evidence to little evidence. It was kinda dumb in that sense, I'm sorry. And also, you know, stuff like automatic writing and the thing with the tiles at the end just kind of pisses me off, because it's obviously fake, whether Celina realizes it or not. Look, I'm really not trying to hate on Chris and Celina. That is not the purpose of this video, but I did want to criticize it because, you know, I used to believe in ghosts pretty wholeheartedly. I used to blindly just watch ghost videos on YouTube and be like, yep, ghost activity, that's ghost activity right there. And I was so naive until another YouTuber opened my eyes to be like, oh yeah, but they're using these really unreliable devices and assuming that they're now faking all this and this and this. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, because I kind of felt like, you know, ghosts were real, and then I watched fucking a few videos debunking, and I was like, oh, yeah, that was kind of dumb of me. Not to say that you're stupid if you believe this stuff. I just think you're uninformed about it, and that's fine. That's why I'm making this video. I just really think it's important that people see both sides of the coin. Please do not hate on Chris or Celina, of course, that should go without saying. I'm not trying to create hate here. I could have picked any paranormal investigating YouTuber. I don't have anything specifically against Chris and Celina. This is just what I saw and one I wanted to make a video about. I really do hope you liked this video. It took me a while to create, so please do comment, like, subscribe, you know, the whole shebang. Let me know if I should maybe make another video on Chris and Celina's Highway to Hell series, or maybe you want me to review another ghost hunter like Sam and Colby, for example. Or maybe you'd like to see a video on a completely different topic. In that case, let me know too. Thank you again for watching. I love you guys. Chris and Celina, keep making good content, and that's it. Thank you everyone. Goodbye. Bye.